Alright, so today we're looking at section 3.4, which is graphing polynomial functions. We're going to link everything we've done so far together. So we're going to look at where a graph starts and ends, the y-intercept, the x-intercepts, and remember the x-intercepts are found by factoring. And then we also have to look at this thing called the multiplicity of each factor. What that basically means is we have to analyze the degree of each factor. So remember yesterday we were talking about sometimes when there's two of the same factors, and you could write that as like x plus 1 squared. That's going to look different on a graph than just an x plus 1. Okay, so we're going to look at what that means. So here is multiplicity. Multiplicity, again, means the power on a factor. So if a multiplicity is 1, that would be like having, if this is x, or this is negative 2, that'd be like having the factor of x plus 2. And that x plus 2 would just be to the power of 1. So again, x plus 2 to the power of 1, there's only one of those factors, would be called a multiplicity of 1. Now, a power of 1 is like a line. So that means at that x-intercept, your graph is going to pass right through it like a line. So again, multiplicity of 1 is like a line. Multiplicity of 2, so if I look at this point right here, I'm going to say that's positive 2. So the factor would be x minus 2 squared. So again, a multiplicity of 2 is when you have a power of 2 on a factor. What happens here is your graph makes a little parabola at that x-intercept. So again, squared is a parabola. So it actually turns around and switches directions at that x-intercept. Again, that's when there's two of the same factor. You put them together as squared. The final option here, and this would be like at 0. So this would have a factor of x, and then it's cubed. If it's a cubic function, it makes what's called tangent 2 before crossing through. Tangent 2 means flattens out. So what happens is your graph is going to be curving, it's going to flatten, and then it's going to pass through that spot. So again, it's called tangent 2. It kind of flattens and then goes through that spot at a certain x-intercept. So those are the three multiplicity options. Now, if you had a multiplicity of 4, which one do you think it would look like? So power of 4, since it's even, would act like a parabola. If you had something to the power of 5, it would act like the cubic function and make that little tangent 2 before crossing through. Okay, so that should be the final piece in order to graph these. Alright, so let's look at example 1. We are going to sketch a graph of the polynomial below and state the characteristics used to sketch the graph. So we're going to look here for the degree. So remember that with degree, you'd have to consider both of these. The first one has a power of 3, the second one has a power of 1. So if I multiplied this all out, I would end up with an x to the power of 4. So the degree would be 4. So again, if I FOILed this all out, we'd have an x to the power of 4 at the start. The leading coefficient in front of that x to the power of 4 is positive. So if this is an even function, it's going to act like a parabola, and it's positive, so that parabola would open up, which means we're going to go from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1. Alright, the next thing to look at is our x-intercept. So here we already have it factored. So what I could do is I could set each of those factors equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0, which means one of my x-intercepts is at positive 2. If I go x plus 1 equals 0, move the 1 over, we have another x-intercept at negative 1. So there should be two x-intercepts here. One at 2, one at negative 1. The y-intercept is going to be a little trickier to come up with when it's in factored form. How do you always find a y-intercept? X to 0, right? X to 0. So what I'm going to have to do in this equation is set 0 in for my x's. So here we're going to have negative 2 cubed is negative 8 times 0 plus 1 is 1. So we're going to get negative 8 to be my y-intercept. So just like before, you always find a y-intercept by setting the x to 0. Alright, so then all we need to do is actually graph this function, whenever I'm graphing this, I always like to write the quadrants where I start and end, just so I know where to start my pencil and where to end it. So I'm going to put 2 here and 1 here, just to remind me that I go from left to right, and I'm starting at 2 and I'm going to end in 1. We also then would put our x-intercepts on the graph and our y-intercept. So from here, again, I'm going to start with my pencil somewhere up here in quadrant 2. Don't start too far over, because you know that you're going to have to hit that -1. And at -1, the multiplicity is 1, which means my graph is going to pass straight through like a line. So if I start with my pencil somewhere up here, I'm going to pass straight through that -1, head down toward that -8, curve back up toward the +2, but at +2, the multiplicity is 3. So at 3, remember that's where you go tangent 2 before crossing through. So I'm going to make that little tangent 2 before crossing through with my graph. And that would be kind of a rough sketch, but with all the necessary parts to your graph. All right, this is example 2, and in example 2, we're just going to look at this graph and try to come up with all of our information. So here it says the possible degree. Remember that the degree relates to your x-intercepts. So here I see 3 x-intercepts, and each of them has a multiplicity of 1, because at each of them, the graph passes straight through like a line, which means the degree would be 3, because there's 3 x-intercepts, multiplicity of 1 at each one. Next, we want the leading coefficient sign. So we have to think, okay, this is kind of like a line, because it's going diagonally. Is that line moving up or moving down? Moving up as it goes from left to right, or it is moving kind of that upwards slope? So that would be a positive leading coefficient. The end behavior means where does the graph start and where does the graph end? So in this case, it starts in 3 and ends in 1. So we say Q3 to Q1. The next part is the zeros or the x-intercepts. And I think we should get used to maybe doing these as coordinates. They're even given as coordinates here on your graph. So the first x-intercept is -4. The next x-intercept is -2. And our other x-intercept here is +2. So there were 3 x-intercepts. It then says, what's the multiplicity at each one? So they're all 1, so we write our multiplicity out like that. Then we have a y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is kind of tricky here. The y-intercept, it does not show very nicely on here, but it is at -16. So -16 is where your y-intercept crosses. And then this final part is the intervals where the function is positive or negative. This is new. Okay, so this is using something called interval notation. You guys to this point have always used set notation for domain and range. For example, set notation. So set notation is where we'd say like x is greater than or equal to 6 in curly brackets. You can also use interval notation to do something like domain and range, or to show intervals of positive and negativity. This is a big part of calculus, and I know Mr. Popoff really likes the interval notation. I try to use more set notation so that you guys get really good at both, because in university it'll depend on your professor. Some will expect interval and some will expect set. Okay? So interval notation is just done with brackets. So if I'm looking here for a positive interval, so I'm just going to write positive ... Positive interval means where is this graph above 0? So I see my first positive interval is down here, because the graph goes above 0, and that's between -4 and -2. So I'd write a round bracket and say -4, -2, and it kind of looks like a coordinate. But again, that means the interval from -4 to -2. Now there's another interval, and it goes from 2 on, because that's where your graph here is above 0, and it would continue on forever. So we'd put a U, which means union, kind of means and. So one interval from -4 to -2, and another interval from 2 to infinity, because it would go on forever. So you can go through and try the second one on your own. I do have all the information on here, but try to go through this graph and figure out why all the information is written the way it is. Let's also write the equation for these. So back to the first graph here, back to part A. We can make the equation with the x-intercepts. But remember, the x-intercepts have the opposite sign of their factor. So if I turn the x-intercept of -4 into a factor, that would be x plus 4. The x-intercept at -2 would be x plus 2. And the x-intercept of +2 would be x minus 2. So we'd have those three factors. Now we have to check that the multiplicities are correct. So I see that they all have a multiplicity of 1, which is what I have right now, so that's good. We also know that the leading coefficient is positive, which it would be right now, because these are all positive x's, so that's good. And the final thing that you could check is your y-intercept. So the y-intercept here is -16. If I put zeros in for my x's, I would get 4 times 2 times -2, which is -16. So that's how I know that my equation here would be right. Alright, so for the next one, again, let's put in our factors. So I had an x-intercept at -5, which means x plus 5 is a factor. An x-intercept at -1, which means that x plus 1 is a factor. And then we have x plus 4, which means that x minus 4 is a factor. Now there is something that I need to include here, because I know I have a multiplicity of 2 at the x-intercept of 4. So I'm going to need to put a squared on the outside of that bracket. I also know that my leading coefficient is negative. So I'm going to have to put a negative in front here to make sure that this is negative, because when I look right now, all the signs are positive. Positive x, positive x, positive x. So I'm going to include an extra negative on the outside to make sure it is negative. We can also check then that our y-intercept is actually -80. So if I put zeros in for all of my x's, I'll get 5 times 1 times -4 squared. 5 times 1 times -4 squared is 80. But again, if I have that extra negative sign on the front, that would make it into -80, like it's supposed to be. So that one does work out as well. Let's start then here with the graph of A. So we're going to need to find our x-intercepts from the factors, and they all have a multiplicity of 1. We're then going to need to find the y-intercept. And with a y-intercept, you put in a 0 for the x's. So if I put in a 0 for all these x's, we're going to get -1 times 2 times 3. So -1 times 2 times 3 is -6. So we'll have a y-intercept at -6. We also need to know what quadrant it starts and ends in. So since these have 3 factors, it's a degree 3. So it's odd, and the leading coefficients are all positive. So if it's odd, it acts like a line, and if it's positive, it's going upwards, which means it would start in quadrant 3 and end in quadrant 1. And that should be all the information we need then to graph this polynomial function. So again, we have a y-intercept at -6, x-intercept at -2, -3, and +1. I'm going to write on here quadrant 3 and quadrant 1 so that I know where my pencil has to start and end. And at each one of these x-intercepts, we're going to pass straight through because the multiplicity is 1. So start in quadrant 3, pass straight through all of those x-intercepts and y-intercept, and then continue on to quadrant 1. So here's the graph for part B. Pause the video here if you need it. And then here's the graph for part C. Again, pause the video if you need to. These are then the textbook questions that you can work on.